This one, Ittoqqortoormiit, is one of the most isolated towns in Greenland, and by extension, one of the most remote inhabited places on Earth. It's located on the eastern coast near the mouth of the Scoresby Sound. That's the largest fjord system in the world. This town has a population of about 350 people. Founded in 1925 by a group of Inuit families, Ittoqqortoormiit was part of a Danish effort to assert control over the uninhabited eastern coast. The location was chosen for its proximity to the rich hunting and fishing grounds here, but the surrounding environment has always been unforgiving. Winters here are long, dark, and cold, with temperatures routinely falling below -20 degrees Celsius. Most residents rely on traditional subsistence practices for survival. Hunting seals, polar bears, musk oxen, and fishing remain essential for food and income. Dog sleds are still in use during the winter months, and some residents guide scientific expeditions and tourists who are drawn to the region's beauty and abundant wildlife. Living here requires adaptation. There is no hospital, just a small health clinic staffed by nurses with a doctor visiting intermittently. Medical emergencies that require evacuation are dependent on helicopters, which are unavailable for much of the year due to storms or ice conditions. Well, despite the challenges, the town persists. For those who live there, Ittoqqortoormiit offers a sense of community, cultural continuity, and connection to the ancestral land. However, it is undeniably a place where the environment itself resists permanent human presence. It requires constant effort just to maintain a fragile balance between survival and isolation. Number 30. With a population of about 2,400 people, it exists in a climate and environment so extreme that several unusual legal and practical rules have been put in place, simply to enable basic human life. The town was originally founded in 1906 as a coal mining settlement, and while mining still happens on a small scale, modern Longyearbyen now functions as a scientific, educational, and tourism hub. Despite this, though, it's not a place conducive to permanent residence. Temperatures often fall below -20 degrees Celsius, and the sun doesn't rise at all between late October and mid-February. Due to permafrost instability here and avalanche risk, homes have to be carefully positioned to reduce any exposure to environmental hazards. But one of the most interesting policies here in Longyearbyen is that dying is effectively banned. The town's small cemetery stopped accepting burials in the 1950s because bodies don't decompose in the permafrost. Anyone with a terminal illness has to travel to mainland Norway for end-of-life care. Giving birth here is also strongly discouraged, as the hospital lacks facilities for childbirth, and pregnant women are required to leave weeks before their due date. And yeah, wildlife hazards are another constant here. Polar bears roam the island, and all residents are required by law to carry a rifle. Encounters with bears are rare within the settlement itself, but it is possible beyond the populated zone. Transportation in and out is limited to a small airport and seasonal sea routes, and while it's better connected than other Arctic communities, flights are dependent on weather and daylight. A single grocery store provides for the town, and prices are considerably higher than on the mainland. Despite the challenges, though, it remains a functioning community with schools, a university campus, a library, and even a small brewery. The extreme climate, isolation, wildlife risks, and infrastructure limitations makes it one of the least hospitable permanent settlements on Earth. It's an engineered outpost of civilization in a place where nature resists it. Here in Whittier, the combination of geographic isolation, logistical bottlenecks, and weather make it one of the most unconventional towns in North America. On the western side of Prince William Sound, and its living conditions are unusual to the point where nearly the entire population, around 200 people, live under one roof. That building is a 14-story former army barracks that now serve as a combined residential complex, post office, grocery store, city hall, police station, and even a school. While this arrangement may seem efficient, it's a necessity in a place where weather, terrain, and access create severe barriers to normal life. However, it never really developed into a large town, and today its extreme isolation and climate limit any substantial growth. This place is surrounded by mountains and water with no road access until about the year 2000. The only road leading into the town now passes through the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel. The climate here is classified as subpolar oceanic, and it features long, wet, and windy winters. Snowfall regularly exceeds 250 inches, that's 6 meters a year, and the town is cloud-covered for more than 75% of the year. Tunnels connect the buildings to other parts of the town, including the school, enabling children to go to class without really stepping outside during harsh weather. Tourism during the brief summer months provides some income, particularly from cruise ships and nature tours, but the town has few local businesses and is largely sustained by government employment, fishing, and transportation services. Here in Whittier, the combination of geographic isolation, logistical bottlenecks, and weather make it one of the most unconventional towns in North America. While life there functions, it does so through a dense infrastructure and a tight-knit population willing to share not just a community, but a building. It's an example of how people can adapt creatively to live in a place that was never truly meant to support a traditional town. The combination of brutal cold, pollution, and darkness makes it one of the harshest places in the world where people continue to live in large numbers. The world, and the largest settlement within the Arctic Circle. Located in the Krasnoyarsk Krai region of Siberia in Russia, it's got a population of over 175,000 people. And despite its size, though, Norilsk exists in one of the most inhospitable urban environments on Earth, shaped by extreme cold, long periods of darkness, and severe industrial pollution. The city is on the permafrost, and temperatures here in winter often fall below -30 degrees Celsius, with wind chills that can make it feel significantly colder. Emissions from the smelters here have stripped nearby forests and contaminated the soil and water. Acid rain is common, and the air often contains dangerous levels of sulfur dioxide. The city's closed to foreigners without any special permissions, and there are no roads connecting it to the rest of Russia. Supplies and people have to travel in and out by air or, in summer, by cargo ships navigating the Arctic rivers. Basic goods are way more expensive than in other Russian cities due to transportation costs, and while schools, hospitals, and entertainment venues do exist, options are limited. Despite the challenges, though, many residents stay for the relatively high wages offered by the mining and metallurgical industries. The combination of brutal cold, pollution, and darkness makes it one of the harshest places in the world where people continue to live in large numbers. Ellesmere Island in the Canadian Arctic. Alert, Nunavut is the northernmost permanently inhabited place on Earth. It sits at a latitude of 82.5 degrees north, that's 817 kilometers, just 500 miles from the North Pole. Now, despite the word inhabited, Alert is not a town in the traditional sense. It's home to a rotating population of scientists, military personnel, and technicians, generally no more than 50 people in winter and about 75 during the summer. The station was established here during the Cold War in 1950 as part of Canada's Northern Warning System and joint efforts with NORAD. Today, though, it hosts multiple facilities, including a military signals intelligence station operated by the Canadian Forces, a weather station operated by Environment and Climate Change Canada, and a global atmosphere watch research station operated by international scientific networks. The environment here is so inhospitable that nothing here really grows. There are no trees, no grass, and no natural shelter from the cold. The Arctic Ocean to the north is permanently frozen for much of the year, and sea ice covers the surrounding water. All supplies to Alert must be flown in, and there are no roads connecting the outpost to any other location. Cargo is dropped in during periods when the gravel airstrip is stable and visibility permits. Supply runs are infrequent and have to be carefully coordinated with weather forecasts. Daily life here follows a rigid schedule.